Hey guys, it's Screamarts with another video for DMB Academy, again with some 140 style music tips. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Really do appreciate all of the support here on the channel. And yeah, please leave a like if you love the video and a comment as well. Today I'm gonna talk a little bit about basses like Skrillex's Rumble, and we talked a little bit about subs, and it's gonna be quite a similar video in the end, because that's all that bass really is. It's a big sub bass line with a bit of layering and a bit of distortion and of that good stuff. So we're gonna look at that today. Yeah, let's dive right back into it. We're gonna do that in Serum 2 today, for example, and we can just open up Serum 2 and it will look like that. I'll put a little bit of distortion here, but I turn it off for now. And then we're gonna choose a deep note. And the drums we're having here are drums we already made. They don't really sound like Rumble, but I mean close enough right now, just to get a little bit of an idea. And we're gonna choose a deep note, and then we're gonna go to basic shapes or analog BD sign. I like analog BD sign because it kinda gives you harmonics already that are already accentuated, that you just have to basically make bigger if you want to. So we're gonna turn the random off. Then we're gonna click on that pencil here. And then as you can see, we have our fundamental here, and we have all these harmonics, but they're very small here. And I want a bit of an accentuated harmonic for that big sound. And then we're gonna just turn that up. And basically what the bass line is in Rumble is a very fast movement, so we can put an LFO1 on, and actually won't make a big difference because it's only a sub, so we can put the LFO1 on the level, for example. And then we just put a little wave, because I think it has a little bit of an attack, that sound, and then we're gonna put it on 16th. And then we kind of already got the vibe of the sound. But that is kind of not enough to make that sound professional enough or on that level. So what I would do is I would go to the matrix, I would choose LFO2, and then I would make a similar shape, but make it shorter than that first one. And put LFO2 here, just drag it over there. It's as simple as that. And then right here we have an empty slot. So what we're gonna do with that, we're gonna fill that empty slot because we're gonna modulate something with LFO2. So we're gonna go in there, we left click, and then this window opens, and then we can go to, for example, global main tuning. We can also go to oscillator A, coarse pitch if we want to, similar to the sub video we're talking about. And then you're just gonna go into it, make sure it's on one directional. What that means is that the sound will go from up down in pitch, and if you have it here, it will start in the middle and it will go both up and down, and we don't really want that, or I don't really want that normally. For a vibrato effect, I'd want that, but not for what we're going for. I want to make this more into a kick-ish sound. So let's take a listen on how that sounds as it is. And it still needs to be on eighths, 16ths. And then you can decide how knocky you want that to be. As you can see, that shapes kind of the whole sound. but it's a little bit more subtle in Rumble. So maybe take a little bit of distortion after that, and that's just raw, and as you can see, it already makes a huge difference. And the hi-hats here are maybe a little bit too shuffled, but what I think I'm hearing in this track from Flowdan and Skrillex and Flowdan is I think I'm hearing a little bit of a shuffle. So how do we go about that? We go back on 1/8, and then we're gonna draw a second curve here that's just a little bit offset. And then we're gonna just drag that. I forgot how that's. Oh yeah, perfect. We're gonna drag that over here by holding Command. And then you can draw the same shape, and then you put it on 8th as well. That's perfect. And then you got a little bit of a shuffle now, and now you can have a bit more of a groove. And you can of course go crazy. Can even go. Go crazier than that if you want to, right? And try around with that. And I think then what they did in certain parts of the track, that's just a guess of course, you just resample that. And why do I resample that? It's so that I can see the shuffle. There's almost no shuffle here right now, but as you can see, always where the note is the highest, this is kind of where it peaks, and that's because we have a little bit of attack there. And as you can see, it's pretty straight still, so it's not that hard to follow, but it's still kind of cool to have that, because I'm just gonna keep that basically quiet. And then if I want to layer something, I can kind of see where the peak is, and I will layer it here. I won't layer it here, I will layer it here, I will layer it in another one here, the next one around here, so slightly before the curve goes up. And then you can, for example, look for a tom or something. And you could just go for maybe a kick sample like that. And that's how a lot of cool sounds are made. They don't come directly out of Serum a lot of the times, even though often they do. Of course, he might have actually also done that sound, or they might have actually done that sound using the sampler in Serum. But you can, I think, come up with some pretty cool sounds if you just layer stuff. So they definitely took a sound like that, or something equivalent like a tom, and then they layered that over. And they had a different type, you know, they had a few breaks in the jungle. And you kind of get the idea of what they did here. I think this is the wrong sample. We can still look for something more tonal as well. I don't know, these drum kits. You could go for something like that. But it doesn't really matter. You need to obviously find the right sample, and you can spend a lot of time on doing that. But you kind of get the idea of what they did. They had this cool sub, and then in certain moments they layered some percussion that basically were lying directly under the sub, and that's why I'm exporting it this way, so I can actually see where I can layer it, because I'm a very visual person, and I think for me that's just the easiest way to do it. And even that back and forth is kind of cool. And then maybe make each hit be a bit different. And that's how you get these kind of bass. You could also like layer, shuffle this left and right, add some more sounds. I do that quite a lot with Foley, with water sounds, with all types of things, with some resonators layers, even some snare layers, even if it sounds weird, some chords. And that way you get some really interesting steps as well. So not only sounds like Skrillex's Rumble, but also all types of cool sounds you can do with similar techniques for neurofunk and everything really. Yeah, I hope that opened your eyes a little bit on the possibilities of sound design and all of that and what you can do. And hope to see you in the next video. Peace out.